A 1, 2, 3, 4. Hey there, Griff Hamlin here from Blues Guitar Unleashed. Welcome. Thanks for joining me today. In this video, I'm going to talk about another common variation on the standard 12-bar blues. Now, if you didn't see my previous video, I talked about something called sometimes called the 2-5-1 turnaround, but that's sort of not really the whole story. But the idea was that if we were in the key of G, instead of the bars 9 and 10, where we would have the 5 chord and the 4 chord, one of the common variations is to have a 2 chord, like an A minor 7, and the 5 chord, like a D9, okay? And then I mentioned that what commonly, or what can often come after that, is instead of going for a bar on the 1 chord and then a bar on the 5 chord, is that we could have a bar, 2 beats on the 1, 2 beats on the 6, 2 beats on the 2, 2 beats on the 5. So a 1, 6, 2, 5, 1. Now, there's that in and of itself is not necessarily super complicated. First of all, we have to find the 1, 6, 2, 5, right? Well, in the key of G, if you just kind of walk up the G major scale, you get G, A, that was our 2, B, C, that was our 4, D, that was our 5, E happens to be the 6. There's another E here. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The 7th, by the way, is F sharp, in case you're interested. So E is our 6. Now, using what's called the standard harmony rule, 6 chords are minor. Okay, so I'm playing an E minor 7. And then 2 chords are minor, so I'm going to make that an A minor 7. And 5 chords are dominant 7th, so we're going to have our D9, or you could do D7, we could do D13. There's a lot of anything in the dominant 7 family. D9, D13, D11, whatever you like, and then back to our G7 is our 1 chord. Now, that might seem fairly straightforward to you. Okay, hopefully you know how to play a 7th chord. Hopefully you know a minor 7th chord there, a minor 7th chord voicing there, and a 7th chord voicing of some sort right there. I don't want to get too crazy into how all these chords are played, because that's kind of going to lose the forest for the trees. So if you don't know how to play those chords, you might want to come back to this a little bit later. Go look up how to play a minor 7th, how to play a 7 sharp 9, because we're going to get into some fun stuff. So here's where it gets interesting. Jazz has a really kind of cool little rule, if you want to call it a rule, but basically in jazz, it's okay to take any minor chord and make it dominant 7th. It's just allowed. You're just going to have to take my word for it, unless you're a big theory person. You can call them secondary dominants if you want the more traditional theory term in this kind of case, but it's not worth your time and energy to try to explain this. It happens all the time. We do it all the time. We don't have to know why or really even care. This is just something that we do. The very simple, basic rule is you can take any minor 7th chord and turn it into a 7th type chord, right? So if I do that, I could have like E9. And then instead of A minor 7, I could do like A13. And then D9, right? So this E minor could become some sort of E dominant style, or it could be like E7 sharp 9. That's really cool. Now check this out. So I have 1, 6. Okay, notice my top 3 fingers. My first finger, right, being at the G sharp, 6th fret of the 4th string. My third finger being at that D, 7th fret of the 3rd string, and my pinky is on the G natural, right? That's the sharp 9, at the 8th fret of the 2nd string. My root note is E, right? 7th fret, 5th string. These 3 fingers are just going to slide down, and I'm going to grab an A root. And now it's A13, right? Yeah, I have to switch up my fingering a little bit here. Here, now I don't have to switch up my fingering if I use my thumb. And hopefully you can see that I've just slid these 3 notes down a fret. Okay, now watch what happens if I do this. Slide them down again and put my root on D. D7 sharp 9. And now move them down again, and I have G13. So one of the ways you can handle this 1, 6, 2, 5 is to take those 3 notes and just do that. And if you want to make the roots in there, you can, but obviously you don't have to as long as the band is cooking behind you. So if I've got my little, jam track going, right? And in fact, I'm going to get rid of the rhythm guitar on it. So now it's just kind of the bass. So I got a G13. So here's my 2. Here's my 5. Here's my 1, my 6, 2, 5, 1, 4, 1. I made it a quick change. Add with a 9. Here's my 1, 2, 5, 1, 6, 2, 5, 1. It's a super easy move, but it has a really, really hip sound. Now, there are definitely times when it might be a little too hip, for lack of a better word, right? That is a sound that not everybody's gonna love. It's got some jazz, right? It's got a little bit of the jazz going on. So not everybody's gonna love that sound, and that's totally cool. If you find that you're in a situation where that sounds really tense against the rest of the band, and you know that they're doing a 1, 6, 2, 5, but you're playing those and it sounds really tense, then you might want to straighten it out and go back to minor 7 and something, something less tense, more like a straight up minor 7, an A and an A minor 7, like a D9, right? Keep it simple. On the other hand, if you find that you're playing those chords, those simple chords, and it doesn't sound like it's jiving with the band, well, they might be doing like dominant 7th versions, right? So sometimes there's a little feeling it out going on. Sometimes you play the first time through and you try some voicings, and maybe you don't love them all. So the next time through, you try a different set of voicings and you like, okay, that one's better, but that one's not so much. So you keep that one and you try a different one. That's just kind of the way jams happen sometimes. You just have to keep your big ears on and keep them open and listen, be cognizant of what you're playing, right? Don't just throw it against the wall. Play something, right? But know what it is that you're grabbing and be on the listen for, hey, does this sound right with the band? Yeah, I'm playing this E7 sharp 9, but maybe it doesn't go, right? Maybe you're playing E7 sharp 9 while they're playing a really vanilla E7, and that might not sound so good together. So you might have to change it up. You might have to go to a vanilla E7, or you might have to go to like an E9 without the sharp 9 in it. Okay, you might have to, you got to be aware of those little variations, because that's the kind of thing that at a jam, you know, if every time around there's that little bit of extra tension, that little bit of grating because your chord is slightly different than what the band's playing, that's the kind of thing that'll just get irritating chorus after chorus. And so you really got to be on the listen for that, okay? And again, this is the kind of thing where, you know, if you were on a bandstand or on a jam and somebody says, hey, it's a 6-2-5-1 turnaround, this is what they mean, right? It's that 6-2-5-1 at the very end. Like I said, if they say it's a 2-5-1 turnaround, they probably mean in bars 9 and 10, not in 11 and 12. Don't be afraid to clarify, right? You know, if they say, hey, it's a 6-2-5-1 turnaround, say, are you doing bars 9 and 10, the 2-5, or are you still doing 5-4? And then they'll be like, oh, he knows what he's talking about, or she knows what she's talking about. Cool. And everybody feels at ease. Asking those questions means that you have experience and you know what might come up and you have ears and you care. Those are all good things. Don't be afraid to ask those questions because sometimes you gotta know, okay? Now, similar to the way I ended the last video, I will let you know that if you like this kind of stuff, I do have a course called How to Build Blues Songs where I cover a ton of these subtle but important variations on the 12-bar blues so that you can, when you go out on a jam, have actually played them all and actually know what they sound like and have these variations. So again, I'll try and leave a link near this video. And I hope you dig it and I hope you have some fun with it. By the way, if you're into the little bass line thing I did at the beginning, I just played a G arpeggio because that was the first chord. 1, 2, 3. Then I just used the half step coming down to the next arpeggio. C, then G. G, the half step to C. C arpeggio. It's just a major arpeggio. And then I played the A, and I walked up. B, C, C sharp, D. And then I walked up E, F, F sharp, G, E flat, E, B flat, A, E flat, D, G sharp or A flat, and then I started over. So boom, 6, 2, 5, 1. And I just approached all of the chords from a half step. And I just played the roots notes. It's really not very complicated. It's a fairly simple thing. Super fun though, to kind of, as I did, you know, play that into the looper. And then on the second pass, I did a little overdub where I played some chords. And then on the third pass, I can solo all day long. So it's a really fun way to kind of make a little jam track for yourself. Just a little extra side benefit in case you want to play with it. It's a lot of fun. All right, so as always, I'm Griff Hamlin from Blues Guitar Unleashed. I will leave links for stuff below this video. As always, if you dug the video, you got something out of it, and you think a friend would dig it, please share it with them. Make sure you subscribe to this channel. I do release stuff very semi-regularly, all the time, and never. So I'll see you soon. Take care.